Jono Naylor.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Social Housing. What reports has she received about the impact methamphetamine use is having on Housing New Zealand's ability to house people in need?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr Speaker, I have recently seen a report from Housing New Zealand about their properties that are having an increasing number that are having to be decontaminated or even demolish houses because tenants have been using or manufacturing.
I apologise to the Minister. I can't hear the answer because of interjections from my immediate left. Honourable Paula Bennett.
I was just ignoring the angry man. But last year, 229 homes had to be decontaminated, up from just 28 a year earlier. 14 houses were actually so badly damaged that they had to be demolished. Being in a social house is a privilege that comes with a huge subsidy from the taxpayer, and that also comes with responsibilities. It is simply unacceptable that some people are abusing that privilege by using meth and leading to delays for others.
Supplementary question, Jono Naylor.
How many houses currently can't be used because of methamphetamine contamination?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Currently, there are 322 Housing New Zealand homes that are sitting empty because they are contaminated or suspected of being meth-infected. Those homes could house 7% of the people currently sitting on the social housing register. Houses can take months to decontaminate, meaning those in real need are having to wait longer, of course, which is simply unacceptable.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
What steps is the Minister taking to remove the offending substances in the house of Jamie Te Hori and William Owe in Porirua, whose child is suffering so far incurable respiratory diseases because of her failure to fix up the mould and damp in their state house?
Order. The Honourable Paula Bennett.
So in February this year, actually $16,500 was spent on that home and ensuring that it had thermal curtains, carpeting. They also put a heat pump in. Well, I'm answering your question. I'm actually answering your question. Settle down. You're getting a little angry.
Order. Member, what was it? Order. Now, the question was asked. I think it was a good question. I want to hear the answer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. So, Mr Speaker, that house, before it was tenanted in March, had more than $16,500 spent on it. They upgraded the kitchen, they actually repainted all of the walls, they put a heat pump in, thermal curtaining, they put carpet on the floors. They also informed me that they have been trying to get hold of the family in the last couple of months, have been unable to look at some of the phone calls and things that they've had from them. We have actually spent more than $400 million on maintaining and actually building more homes, and have got the Warm and Dry program that is really working to try and heat up those houses.
Order. Supplementary question, Jono Naylor.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. What is it costing Housing New Zealand to deal with the meth contamination in their homes?
Well, Mr Speaker, last year alone... Goodness gracious.
Order. Order.
Oh, a thorough joke today.
I've given a specific warning to that member once already. I'll let you now the very final one. Supplementary question, the Honourable Paula
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Housing New Zealand has spent $2.3 million on decontamination, retesting and remediation, more than 3 times what they spent in 2013. Each decontamination can cost up to $16,000, and of course a demolition means that whole house needs to be rebuilt and takes time. Housing New Zealand spent a record $400 million on home maintenance and upgrades just in the last 12 months alone.
Question number 7.